Hey everyone, Lindsay Mauk here. Welcome back to Dose of Social, your recipe for social media success. I am super excited to share today's episode with you. It is called Why Reels Matter. And we are diving into a topic that Kayla and I are so excited about. We're going to talk about Instagram Reels specifically and why they continue to dominate the social media landscape. We're going to talk about why Reels outperform other content formats, such as photos, how people actually consume Reels content, and why short form video content is still the most powerful way to reach your audience on social media. We'll also walk you through planning, shot lists, objectives, and simple ways to take the overwhelm out of creating Reels for your business. We want to make it easy for you. So if you've been thinking, I should be posting Reels, but I don't even know where to start, this episode is going to give you some clarity, direction, and ideas of where to begin. Let's jump in. In today's social media landscape, short form video rules. If you're not dialing into short form video, you're missing out. I mean, I remember back in the days where on Instagram, all you had to do was post a photo and that was it. And now that doesn't fly in today's social media landscape. It's about a carousel and it's about a reel and
Animation. Yeah.
dancing funny on camera and finding trending audio. So all these things, Instagram Reels are extremely popular type of content. Over 2 billion people interact with Instagram Reels every month.
That's crazy.
And more than 2 billion Reels are played across Meta, both Instagram and Facebook, every single day. Reels are now accounting for 35% of total Instagram usage time. It's crazy. So Reels outperform many other formats on Instagram. You can reach more people than a static post. And arguably, you can reach more people than on a carousel. I think Reels are more effective than carousel. Some people still think carousels are the jam. They have their time and place for sure. But Reels, in my opinion, are the king and queen of the Instagram content.
Well, I think also with carousels, when you add music to it, it shows up on the Reels feed. So sometimes those can outperform regular carousels too.
Yeah, that's a good hack. I love it. Over 60% of brands and influencers are now using Reels as their main form of content on Instagram. So today's episode is going to be all about Reels. You're a busy business owner. You're wearing a lot of different hats. Like, I'm sure you don't want to be dancing for the camera for a reel, but we do want to make sure that you carve out time to produce video content for your social media channels. And we want to help you simplify that process and make it easy for you. So let's get into it.
Well, I'd actually like to take a step back before we get into the juicy content here, because I think it's important for our listeners to understand why Reels are important. So I was actually going to ask you why you believe Reels outperform other content
Ooh.
or it's better than other content. I have my answer, but I was curious on yours.
Kayla's going off script, folks.
We're going rogue.
I love it. I love it when you go rogue. So I think it has to do with our attention span. I think that Reels hook you in. I think they're incredibly addictive as well. I find myself in just the format of just kind of flipping up and scrolling through. Like, they are entertaining. They're educating. I learn things through Reels, edutainment. And I do think that there is just this incredibly addictive quality to it where you just flip through, that's different, a different experience than just flipping through photos in your feed, right? It's a lot more interactive. There's a lot of like funny Reels content out there. Like, so it's a bit more of a entertaining experience than a meme, for example. Like a meme you see, you're like, like a video of a dog, like with some funny music, like just doing an eye roll is somehow way more hilarious than just staring at a meme.
Yeah, I think to your point with people's attention spans being so short these days, they're not reading necessarily. So
Yep.
That's why it's so important to have captions on your reels, because sometimes people are watching your content and they're not even listening to it. They're just reading what's coming up on the video so they can see what it's about, if they want to continue watching, if they want to read the caption, etc. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a really easy reel. I mean, some easy reels that we've done for clients have just been very simple backdrops. Maybe it's a background of their business or a background in nature with text over it. And that's it. There you go. You've got a reel.
yeah.
Just
Okay.
a more interesting dynamic way to process information.
Well, yeah, and people they just want to doom scroll. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, they're just sitting there scrolling, getting entertained. It's pretty quick. So you want to capture their attention quickly, which we are going to get into here shortly.
We sure are.
So we know now why reels matter. So let's talk about how you shoot and produce them effectively for your business without it becoming a huge time suck. So the most important thing to start with is the pre-production and planning. So you definitely want to define your objective. Is this going to be for awareness, engagement, conversion? Are you trying to get people to purchase something? I think that's the first thing you kind of want to figure out. On top of that, and Lindsay, I know you do this too, but we build shot lists for all of our clients. So for the most part, we'll do a monthly shoot for a client, both photo and video. We build out a shot list of what we would like to see, but we also talk with the client ahead of time to understand what their goals are. So then that helps us define the objective of, okay, is this video going to be for awareness? Is it going to be for engagement? Are we trying to drive a purchase for a product? So building out that shot list really helps, because when you're on site, there's a million different things going on. So it's good to stay organized and be prepared. So we talked about defining your objective. You want to build a shot list. A lot of this is different for a lot of the clients we work with, because we do have some clients that are local and we have clients that are not local. So for local clients, we go in, we find a lot of Instagram trends, for example, that we like to shoot with clients. If there's, we work with a local bar and grill, so they have a burger of the month. So we know that every month we want to go in, shoot this burger of the month, try to figure out a different way to do it every month, and then share that on social. We have a client who's a dermatologist and ocular facial plastic surgeon. So we create shot lists for her based on trends that we're seeing, educational content. But then we're also figuring out with the educational posts where she's speaking from anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes, we want to make sure that there's a hook for that reel. So we take a screenshot from her video of her, and then we come up with a hook that will kind of get people's attention to want to watch the video.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think also having an idea of what type of reels you want to produce ahead of time is helpful. So, for example, one of the types of social media coverage we do at LTM Digital is live event coverage. And there is a nonprofit here in Los Angeles. They're called Students Run LA. They annually train 3,000 students to run the LA Marathon. And what our team does is we go on site and we do live coverage of the events. And we also create a shot list ahead of time. But one thing that we do is we get an idea of what types of reels we want to have as final edited pieces after the event. And then we make sure we get that type of content. So, for example, we will ask students, how would you describe today's run in one word? And so we know that we want to interview as many students as possible and get that one word answer, because we know we're going to create a clip, a reels with that one word answer. And we're going to need many different students to share that one word in order to have that engaging reel. So having an idea of what types of reels you are going to produce ahead of time. So if you are a restaurant, for example, and you want to do a testimonials reel, you want to make sure you interview when someone like Kayla or myself is on site with you, or you're doing it on your own for your business. You want to make sure you don't just interview one customer, right? You want to get multiple different customers, ask them the same questions. Maybe you get 5 to 7 different people, because then you can take all their answers and you can cut them together and you can have 2 to 3, maybe even 4 pieces of final reels content as a result.
Yeah, we actually have a client, shout out to Julia Fowler of Southern Women Channel.
Woo! Former
Did
Dose of Social guest.
she actually did something similar. She was out on the streets of South Carolina in Greenville and Charleston, and she was asking questions to people walking by. So it was one word answers or a sentence. But she actually did, I want to say, 10 or more. She's done a lot of videos. So it was, she was out there with people just asking questions, 10 different questions, give me your answers. And then she's pieced them all together for different videos. And it's just batched a lot of content.
Yeah, so if you know that you wanna have content like that, try and interview as many people as you can, whether it's at your brick and mortar location and you're interviewing people coming through, or it's your staff, whatever it is, just make sure that you get more than you think you need, because once you get down to the editing process, those videos are gonna be very quick.
Yes.
Let's talk about trending audio, Kayla. Because I know that sometimes that factors into the pre-production and planning of a reels, especially if you wanna jump on a trend. I know that we do that with LTM Digital just for our own social media. Um, how do you guys leverage trending audio in your reels content for your clients?
Um, so I've seen that trending audio sometimes doesn't necessarily help your reel. And I think that's also a case by case basis depending on the client and what you're doing. And sometimes things just take off. You never know. I think with our bar and grill client that we work with, we do a lot of trends there just because that is the type of content that performs well for them. So I was laughing as you were talking about that because we just had a shoot with them and there's a trend with the Pussycat Dolls song, Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me? And it was with a bartender with shakers. And so we did that with 3 of their bartenders and it was hilarious. And I think it's going to perform really well. But sometimes you might post something with trending audio and it flops. So it kind of just depends on your audience, the trend that you're trying to do, and also I think where you're posting it. We work with a client where on their Instagram feed, it's the reels are very much texture content from the product, founder content, animation, and then TikTok is a little bit more mayhem and we have a little more fun with it with the trending sounds. So I definitely think you should take advantage of trends, but also make sure you're not just doing it to jump on a trend, but it makes sense for your brand and your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I know right now any song from the new Taylor Swift album is trending. So if you're using that audio, I'm seeing it in a lot of reels, but also making sure that it makes sense. And if you are going to shoot a video with trending audio or with some sort of trending voiceover audio, making sure that you publish that reel in an efficient timeline, because sometimes those trends don't last very long and you don't want to be like posting something like that a month after the fact. So that's the other thing with shooting reels content is try and make sure that you get out your content quickly afterwards. If you have an efficient shoot, you can leverage your content for months from one shoot, but making sure that you prioritize that content too and you push the trending audio or videos or trends or whatever it is to the front of your publishing schedule.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for joining us today for Dose of Social. Now you know exactly why reels matter and how to think strategically before you ever hit record on your phone. In part 2 of our series, we're going to keep building on this foundation and talk about filming tips, editing, tools, gear, and the production side of bringing reels to life. If you have an opportunity to watch part 2 on video, we highly recommend it because Kayla and I are going to do a little show and tell. If this episode sparked ideas for you or helped you get unstuck, feel free to send us a DM on social media. We'd love to hear what you're working on. Thanks for listening to Dose of Social. We'll see you soon.